Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Stallard. I am teaching at the Chafford Seminary this fall, the course TH408, Pneumatology and Sanctification. It's a 2-credit-hour course. I'd love to have you come and be part of my class. I teach from a vantage point of literal hermeneutics. We don't go searching for hidden meanings and putting together things that just come out of our imagination. We are text-driven. And it's interesting, years ago, Louis Sperry Chafer, the namesake of our seminary, wrote a book called He That Is Spiritual. And in that book, he said a Christian is a Christian because he is rightly related to Christ, but he that is spiritual because he is rightly related to the Spirit, in addition to his relation to Christ and salvation. And one of the things I want to do in this course is to frame that question, that issue, and prove that Chafer is largely correct in his understanding. But that will require us to not just deal with the doctrine of the Holy Spirit and his person and work, but to investigate the whole issue of how the Spirit works in sanctification. And we have to deal with passages like Ephesians 5:18 to 21, Galatians 6, the fruit of the Spirit, Romans 6, 7, and 8. Probably the most hefty part of the Bible in terms of learning the Spirit's role in sanctification, how we view sanctification at all. And then the upper room discourse in John 14 to 16, where Jesus made some very clear statements about the Spirit's work. So we'll have to address that. I also have a very lengthy section. It'll take us a couple of weeks probably to go through on the Holy Spirit in the Old Testament. That's something that's neglected. That may be because there are distinctions that may not apply quite the same way today. For example, the baptism of the Spirit is something that we experience as Christians today, but which is not part of the life of Old Testament saints. We know that because Peter suggested that the baptism of the Spirit had a beginning on the day of Pentecost. So we'll have to work through those distinctions between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And of course, one of the big important issues is the role of the Holy Spirit in individual salvation and individual redemption. There is the convicting work of the Holy Spirit that Jesus talked about in John's Gospel in the Upper Room Discourse. But then there's the regeneration or new birth that the Holy Spirit produces in a person who puts their faith and trust in Jesus. But finally, the big elephant in the room is always, when we talk about the Holy Spirit, are the sign gifts. Tongues and healings and other things like that. Is there a revelation today? All of those kind of issues. And we'll have 2 to 3 weeks dealing with spiritual gifts. And we're going to look at the sign gifts in particular, and I'm going to try to give you a robust defense of cessationism, that the sign gifts have ceased for this age. And so I hope you'll join me. We've got a lot to cover. It's going to be an exciting time, and I hope to see you in class. Lord bless.